If you wake up with a burning sensation in your chest, a sour taste in your mouth, or a dry, scratchy throat, chances are you're not just unlucky. You're unknowingly setting yourself up for a digestive disaster within the first hour of your day. Most people have no idea that what they do in the morning can either protect their digestive system or slowly destroy it. And the worst part is that many of these habits are considered healthy. They've been promoted on wellness blogs and by influencers as detox rituals or metabolism boosters, but for someone suffering from acid reflux, they are silent triggers. Let's start with a classic example. You wake up and drink a glass of warm water with lemon. Maybe you've read that it alkalizes the body or helps digestion. But here's what no one tells you. Lemon is highly acidic. When it hits your stomach on an empty belly, it increases acid production. Now, if you have a healthy digestive system and strong lower esophageal muscles, your body may tolerate it. But for millions of people over 40, the muscle that separates the stomach from the esophagus, the lower esophageal sphincter, is already weak. So that extra acid doesn't just stay in the stomach, it starts to rise. Add coffee to that routine and you've just poured fuel on the fire. Coffee naturally relaxes the lower esophageal sphincter and stimulates more acid production. Even decaf. So now you have a double hit. Acid levels are rising, and the gate that's supposed to keep it locked down is wide open. You might feel fine in the moment, but wait an hour. Suddenly, you get a strange pressure in your chest, or you start clearing your throat non-stop, or your voice goes hoarse during a morning meeting. That's not coincidence. That's reflux doing its damage silently. Here's something else that's rarely mentioned. Your body's acid production is naturally highest between 6 and 10 in the morning. That's when your stomach is preparing to break down food after a night of fasting. If you skip breakfast, or worse, take medications on an empty stomach, the acid has no food to work on. It just sloshes around and creeps up the esophagus. Combine that with the simple act of bending over to tie your shoes or picking something up off the floor, and you've created the perfect conditions for acid to rise. Gravity works against you, and your morning just turned into an inflammation factory. Now let's talk about something even more deceptive. Healthy smoothies. Imagine this. You make a green smoothie with banana, spinach, protein powder, almond milk. Sounds great, right? The problem is, for reflux sufferers, that cold temperature slows down digestion. Bananas, especially when unripe, can actually trigger reflux in sensitive individuals. And that protein powder? It often contains hidden acids or thickening agents that irritate the stomach lining. You drink it fast, maybe even standing up, and rush out the door. Within an hour, you're bloated, burping, and feeling like something is stuck behind your breastbone. And yet, no one connects these dots. Why? Because we've been told that if we eat clean and exercise, our digestive system will work perfectly. But it's not that simple. Your age, stress levels, past infections, posture, and even your morning hygiene habits can all play a role. Did you know that brushing your teeth aggressively before breakfast can actually stimulate acid reflux in some people? Especially if you're using minty toothpaste, which relaxes the esophageal sphincter. It sounds absurd, but it's real. The body is incredibly sensitive to small triggers when it's already in a state of imbalance. Then comes the overlooked detail that most doctors don't emphasize: breathing. If your morning starts with shallow breathing, maybe because of anxiety or poor sleep, your diaphragm becomes tight. And when your diaphragm is tight, it doesn't support the esophageal valve properly. This makes it easier for acid to escape upwards. Now imagine this happening day after day, not in a dramatic, painful way, but in small, steady episodes. What starts as just a little discomfort becomes chronic inflammation, cellular damage, and eventually leads to far more serious problems like ulcers or even Barrett's esophagus. The tragedy is that people blame themselves. They think they're weak or that their body is broken, but in truth, it's often the result of well-intentioned choices based on bad advice. It's not about removing joy from your mornings. It's about understanding what your body is trying to tell you. Because when you listen closely, you'll realize that burning chest, the lump in your throat, the constant swallowing, they're not random. They're signals. Signals that something needs to change. And the most powerful thing is that it can. When you start your day with the right habits, everything shifts. You create a foundation that protects your esophagus instead of tearing it down. You help your body digest efficiently, reducing pressure, inflammation, and long-term damage. This isn't about fear, it's about clarity. And it starts with recognizing the morning mistakes that so many people make without even realizing it. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. If you have acid reflux, avoid spicy foods, skip fried meals, stay away from soda. And while those tips are not wrong, they are far from complete. In fact, the real problem might not be what you expect. Because what's truly fueling your reflux could be sitting quietly on your plate, disguised as something harmless, or worse, as something healthy. Let's begin with one of the most misunderstood categories of food when it comes to reflux: dairy. You were probably told milk can soothe the stomach, that a glass of cold milk helps calm burning in the chest. But here's the truth most people never hear. Milk is a temporary fix. While it may coat the esophagus and bring short-term relief, it stimulates more acid production once it hits your stomach. That means 10 minutes of comfort followed by hours of silent damage. And if you're drinking whole milk or eating full-fat cheese, you're adding another layer of danger. High-fat dairy slows down digestion, putting more pressure on the stomach and giving acid more time to escape. If this video made you rethink some of your daily habits, let us know in the comments which part resonated with you the most. And if you're ready to take better care of your health one step at a time, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Now think about peppermint. It's often used in teas, candies, even toothpaste. It's known for calming the stomach and relaxing the body. But for people with reflux, peppermint does exactly the opposite. It relaxes the lower esophageal sphincter, the muscle that keeps stomach contents where they belong. Once that muscle is weakened, it becomes a wide open door for acid to rise. You might feel good sipping that mint tea at night, thinking it's helping digestion. In reality, it may be setting you up for a restless night of throat irritation and chest discomfort. Then comes oatmeal. Yes, oatmeal. The food praised as the perfect breakfast by nutritionists around the world. But there's a catch. While plain oats can be fine for some, many people unknowingly add toppings that trigger reflux. Brown sugar, bananas, nuts, dried fruits. These ingredients may seem harmless, but they can ferment in the stomach, increase gas, and push acid upward. Even worse, most instant oatmeals are filled with additives and artificial flavors that irritate the gut lining. So, what begins as a healthy morning bowl can quickly turn into a digestive disaster. The same rule applies to so-called heart-healthy fats. Avocados, olive oil, nuts. They're great for your heart, yes, but dangerous for your esophagus if not managed properly. Fats take longer to digest than carbs or proteins. That means food stays in the stomach for extended periods, building pressure and increasing the chances of reflux. A few slices of avocado on toast might not seem like much, but for someone with a sensitive digestive system, it can be the final straw that sends acid shooting back up. And then there's the problem of volume. Even healthy meals, when eaten in large portions, can become a trigger. Imagine your stomach as a balloon. The more you fill it, the more pressure builds. That pressure has nowhere to go but up. Eating slowly, chewing thoroughly, and stopping before you feel full are not just polite habits. They are essential practices for anyone dealing with reflux. Yet in today's fast-paced world, most people rush through their meals, swallowing large bites, barely chewing, and stretching their stomachs beyond comfort. Let's not forget about the so-called guilt-free snacks: rice cakes, granola bars, protein chips. These processed foods are often filled with hidden ingredients that promote inflammation and worsen acid production. Things like maltodextrin, soy protein isolates, and artificial sweeteners. Even natural bars can contain citric acid or vinegar-based preservatives, which are highly acidic. So while the label says gluten-free or keto-approved, your digestive system may be crying for help. It's also important to mention temperature. Hot soups and stews can relax the esophageal sphincter just like peppermint. Cold drinks, on the other hand, can slow digestion. A meal that includes both extremes confuses your digestive tract, making it harder to process food efficiently. This can lead to delayed gastric emptying, bloating, and reflux flare-ups. Something as simple as the temperature of your food can shift the entire way your body responds to it. But perhaps the most surprising contributor of all is water. Not just any water. Water consumed during meals. While staying hydrated is crucial, drinking large amounts of water with food can dilute digestive enzymes and stomach acid. This slows digestion, increases fermentation, and causes gas buildup. That gas then expands the stomach, pushing its contents upward and making reflux symptoms worse. Sipping small amounts between bites is fine. Gulping down a tall glass with your meal is not. Now imagine combining several of these triggers in one sitting. A creamy pasta with cheese, a glass of wine, a minty dessert, and some ice water. That's a full-scale assault on your digestive system. Yet this is exactly the kind of meal many people eat on a regular basis without realizing why they're waking up in the middle of the night with burning chests or coughing fits. And even more confusing, sometimes symptoms don't appear immediately. They show up hours later, making it harder to trace them back to their root cause. This is why identifying your true triggers requires attention and honesty. It means going beyond the obvious and questioning what you've always believed to be healthy. Because sometimes the foods that comfort you the most are the ones doing the most harm. And once you uncover them, you can start making subtle shifts that protect your gut instead of punishing it. The goal is not to eliminate everything, it's to understand your body's limits. It's about timing, portions, combinations, and awareness. Once you grasp these patterns, you gain control. And control means freedom from the constant guessing game of what's causing your discomfort. You begin to eat with confidence, knowing that each bite is helping you heal rather than hurt. We'd love to hear your experience. Have you noticed any of these reflux triggers in your own life? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more health tips that actually make a difference. It seems innocent enough. You finish dinner, clean the kitchen, maybe have a small cup of tea, and finally sink into the couch to relax. Your body welcomes the rest. Your mind starts to slow down, but deep inside, something else is happening. While you think you're winding down, your digestive system might be gearing up for a silent attack. For people who suffer from acid reflux, some of the most damaging triggers don't come from what they eat, but from what they do after the meal. And sadly, it's often the evening rituals that feel the most comforting that are quietly causing the most harm. One of the most common and underestimated mistakes is lying down too soon after eating. It might feel natural to stretch out after a long day, but reclining right after a meal removes the most important weapon your body has against reflux: gravity. When you're upright, gravity helps keep the contents of your stomach in place. But when you recline or lie flat, even slightly, the angle shifts. The stomach acid that was safely below begins to drift upward, especially if the lower esophageal sphincter is weak. And in many adults over 40, it already is. The danger is that this reflux doesn't always burn. This is what makes it so dangerous. Silent reflux, or laryngopharyngeal reflux, happens without the typical chest pain or heartburn. Instead, you might experience hoarseness, a persistent cough, throat clearing, a sour taste in the mouth, or even sinus issues. It may happen at night, while you sleep, completely unnoticed. People often wake up in the morning feeling congested or with a raspy voice, not realizing it's because acid reached their vocal cords during the night. This slow, hidden erosion can go on for years. Let's talk about dinner timing. Eating late at night is not just a bad habit, it's a mechanical mistake. The stomach needs time to break down food and pass it into the intestines. When you eat close to bedtime, digestion is still in process while you're lying down. That's a recipe for reflux. Ideally, you should finish your last meal at least 2 to 3 hours before going to sleep. But in reality, most people eat dinner between 7 and 9 p.m. and go to bed by 10 or 11. That barely gives the stomach enough time to process a full meal, especially if it included fat, meat, or alcohol. Then there's the issue of bedtime snacks. Maybe it's just a few crackers, or a piece of toast, or a bowl of cereal. Maybe you take it with your evening medication. It seems harmless. But any food introduced late in the evening restarts the digestive cycle, which restarts acid production. And if you lie down right after that, you're giving acid the chance to leak upward. Many people take reflux medications before bed and assume they're protected. But if they're still triggering the mechanism with late eating, they're fighting a losing battle. Even herbal teas, often viewed as a calming bedtime ritual, can backfire. Chamomile, for example, may relax the digestive system a little too well, softening the esophageal valve. Licorice tea can stimulate mucus production, but may also affect blood pressure and stomach lining if taken in high amounts. And peppermint tea, as mentioned earlier, can trigger reflux in some people by relaxing the muscle that should be keeping acid down. So while the intention is comfort, the result can be disruption. Now let's look at sleep position. It might surprise you to learn that simply changing the way you sleep can dramatically reduce acid reflux at night. Studies have shown that lying on your right side worsens reflux symptoms, while lying on your left side can help reduce them. The reason is anatomical. The stomach is shaped like a J. When you lie on your right side, the contents pool toward the esophagus. But when you lie on your left, the stomach curves away from the esophageal junction, making it harder for acid to travel upward. It's a simple shift that requires no medication, no special equipment, and yet it can make a huge difference in how you feel in the morning. But it doesn't stop there. Elevating your upper body while sleeping is another powerful tool. This is not just about adding an extra pillow under your head. That only bends the neck and can make things worse. The key is to raise the entire upper torso. This can be done with a wedge pillow, a bed riser, or even by placing bricks under the headboard legs of your bed. By sleeping at a slight incline, gravity continues to work for you throughout the night, helping to keep stomach acid where it belongs. This is one of the most effective and underused strategies for nighttime reflux. Breathing patterns also play a role. Many people don't realize that stress and shallow breathing in the evening can tighten the diaphragm and weaken its function. The diaphragm sits just beneath the lungs and supports the esophageal valve. When it becomes tight or fatigued, it no longer helps seal off the stomach properly. Gentle evening breathing exercises, such as deep belly breathing or box breathing, can help relax the diaphragm and improve digestion before bed. Not only does this help reduce reflux, but it also calms the nervous system and prepares the body for sleep. Let's not forget alcohol. A glass of wine with dinner or a drink to wind down may feel harmless. But alcohol is a known relaxant of the lower esophageal sphincter. It also increases acid production and slows gastric emptying. Even small amounts can have a large impact, especially when consumed close to bedtime. The effects might not be obvious right away, but over time, that nightly drink can turn into a chronic irritation of the esophagus. Combined with a full stomach and a reclined position, alcohol becomes one of the most powerful contributors to nighttime reflux. all of these small details matter, from how late you eat, to what you drink, to how you position your body. Your evening habits are not just about comfort. They are part of a larger chain reaction happening inside you. A reaction that determines whether your body heals while you sleep or silently deteriorates. The esophagus is delicate. It does not have the same level of protection as the stomach lining. When acid reaches it repeatedly, even without pain, it becomes inflamed. That inflammation can turn into scarring, narrowing, or changes in the tissue that increase the risk of long-term complications. It is not about perfection. You don't need to give up everything or live in fear of food and routine. But you do need awareness. Awareness of how your actions ripple through your body, especially when it is at rest. And with the right changes, your nights can become a time of true recovery, not hidden damage. Because when you align your habits with the way your body actually works, healing stops being a struggle. It becomes natural, quiet, and most importantly, lasting. Was there anything in this video that surprised you or made you reflect on your routine? Leave a comment and join the conversation. And if you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button so we can keep growing together toward better health. You've probably been told all your life that the path to better health is simple. Drink more water, take your vitamins, eat clean. But what if I told you that even these so-called healthy habits, when done without awareness, might be working against you? That some of the very routines you rely on to feel better could be silently contributing to your reflux, inflammation, and long-term discomfort. It's not about blaming the choices you've made. It's about finally understanding how to use those choices in a way that supports your unique body. Because when it comes to acid reflux, what helps one person can hurt another. And the line between healing and harm is thinner than most people think. Let's begin with something as basic as water. Water is life. Our bodies are made mostly of it. Every cell, every organ depends on hydration. But even something this essential can cause problems when consumed at the wrong time or in the wrong way. One of the most overlooked mistakes people make is drinking large amounts of water during meals. It might seem harmless. Some even believe it helps with digestion. But here's what actually happens. When you flood your stomach with water while eating, you dilute the stomach acid that's needed to break down food. This slows the digestive process, leading to fermentation, gas, and increased pressure in the stomach. And when that pressure builds, the path of least resistance is upward, toward your esophagus. Imagine this scenario. You sit down for lunch and have a big glass of water before your first bite. You eat quickly, maybe distracted, and finish your plate within 10 minutes. You follow it with another glass of water. What you've just done is disrupt the entire acid balance of your stomach and overfill your digestive tract. That bloat you feel afterward, that tightness or discomfort, that lingering sensation in your throat, it's not just the food. It's how and when you drank your water. Now consider the supplements you might be taking. Magnesium, zinc, probiotics, digestive enzymes. All great in theory, but timing and form matter more than you think. Take magnesium, for example. It's excellent for muscles and nerves, but it also relaxes smooth muscle tissue, including the lower esophageal sphincter. This relaxation can weaken the barrier that's supposed to keep acid in your stomach. So if you take magnesium at the wrong time, especially with food or before lying down, it may actually increase your reflux symptoms rather than reduce them. Probiotics are another tricky one. They are marketed as gut saviors, and while they can be incredibly helpful, they are not one-size-fits-all. Some probiotic strains, when taken with fermentable foods or on an irritated stomach lining, can cause gas and bloating. That leads to pressure and reflux. And if your gut flora is imbalanced to begin with, adding more bacteria too quickly can create chaos before it brings balance. It's like adding new fish to a fragile aquarium. Without preparing the environment, even good intentions can turn harmful. Even multivitamins can be harsh. Many contain iron or acidic forms of vitamin C, which can irritate the stomach lining and worsen acid production. Taking them without food or with citrus juices can trigger a full-blown reflux episode. It's not about avoiding supplements. It's about learning how to support your body at the right time, in the right form, with the right guidance. But the misunderstanding goes even deeper. Because often, it's not the food, the drink, or the pill itself that's the problem. It's the state your body is in when you consume it. Are you calm, present, breathing deeply? Or are you rushing, multitasking, chewing fast, eating under stress? Your nervous system plays a huge role in digestion. When you're in a state of fight or flight, blood flow is redirected away from the gut. Your body prioritizes survival, not digestion. That means even the healthiest food can ferment, trigger reflux, and leave you feeling miserable if eaten in the wrong emotional state. This is where the real power of healing begins. Not just with diet or routines, but with awareness, listening to your body, respecting its signals, honoring its rhythms, creating space to breathe, chew, rest, and digest. Health isn't built through extremes. It's built through small, consistent choices made with intention. And that's what makes all the difference. When you finally stop chasing the next miracle cure and start mastering your own rhythm, you take control. You begin to feel your body responding. The tightness loosens, the burning fades, the energy returns. Not because of a single change, but because you're finally working with your body, not against it. So if you've been struggling with reflux for years, feeling trapped between medication and misery, let this be your turning point. Let this be the moment where everything starts to make sense, where scattered advice turns into clear guidance, where discomfort turns into understanding, and where healing stops being an idea and starts becoming your reality. Thank you for spending this time learning, reflecting, and choosing to take your health into your own hands. If this video helped you see things differently, there's even more waiting for you. The next video on your screen dives deeper into the everyday habits that could be silently damaging your gut without you ever noticing. Tap to continue your healing journey. You deserve to feel better. And now, you know how to begin.